Hey everyone. So in this video we are going to begin discussing the anatomy of the pancreas. So the pancreas is a tadpole-like shaped organ, and you can see it right here. Kind of looks like cottage cheese. So its function, there's multiple functions to it. It is an exocrine organ as well as an endocrine organ, meaning that it's going to secrete certain enzymes into the small intestine, which would follow right here, as well as it's going to secrete some endocrine hormones into our bloodstream, which you can't see the bloodstream here, but it'll go out that direction. Right? So it has multiple functions here. So it is extremely important for both digestion as well as hormone regulation in the body and really metabolism in the body. This image you might be able to see things a little bit easier with the color, but the idea here is we have this major duct. Again, this is the exocrine duct because it's going exo, out of the body. And how is it out of the body if it's going into a structure that's inside of us? Well, again, we talked about this earlier. The GI tract, or the alimentary canal, which includes your mouth all the way to your anus, is going to be excretory. Remember, you're kind of like that weird donut that we talked about. So there's your body, and that donut hole in the middle is your alimentary canal. So with that said, if you follow through the stomach and then down the small intestine, anything that you put into the small intestine technically would be considered exocrine. So in that case, any enzymes that we deliver into the small intestine would be exocrine, and therefore this here would be the exocrine duct because it's leading out of the pancreas and into the small intestine. You can also see here the common bile duct, which connects to, or even though you can't see it right here, it's going to connect to both the liver and the gallbladder. And from here, we will see bile be secreted down the common bile duct where it connects there, and both will end up in the duodenum of the small intestine. Over here, you see the islets of Langerhans, which are the endocrine structures. So these are going to help us to secrete hormones through the inside of the bloodstream. So these would be endocrine hormones. And again, we'll talk about those in a later video. Here's an image. And again, here's another image that really puts everything together. This image also includes the sphincter muscles that control how much substances are being put into the duodenum. You can also see the gallbladder. What you don't see is the hepatic, where the hepatic duct connects to, which would be the liver up top, but it's not in this image. So going back to these glandular secretions, we have the exocrine glands, which are going to secrete, just like we talked about before, those digestive enzymes. These digestive enzymes are going to do exactly that, help us with digestion. One of the major things that's going to help with is secreting bicarbonate solution, which is alkaline, meaning it's basic. The reason for that, I'm actually going to go back a slide because I think it'll make more sense to see it in the image. Right, in this case, if we have substances from our stomach that are going to leave the stomach and go into the small intestine, they're very likely still going, well, they're definitely going to still have a high acidity or a low pH because of the acids that are in your stomach. So with that said, once the chyme goes from the stomach and into the small intestine, we don't want to have a very high acidic environment for the chyme anymore because we don't have the same kind of mucus secretions in our small intestine as we do in our stomach. So with that said, we want to secrete something into the small intestine as well that's going to help increase the pH or make it more basic, right? More alkaline. We don't want it to be an acidic environment. Not only that, but by changing the acidity, not only are we making it an easier environment on our small intestine and less likely to break it down or cause damage, the other thing too is there are many enzymes in here that function best at a higher pH, a more basic or more neutral pH. If you remember this from bio class, proteins have a specific shape, and if you change those shapes, they don't work anymore. So anatomy dictates physiology. And when it comes to enzymes, if you change their shape, they won't work the right way. And how do you change the shape of an enzyme? You can increase the temperature or change the pH. Increase or decrease the pH. That will change their structure and therefore function. So you want it to be a neutral environment. The last thing to talk about in this video are those endocrine hormones. So not only do we deposit different enzymes into the small intestine, but we also send hormones into the bloodstream. This is going to be extremely important for metabolism. So the three major types of cells and hormones that are being released from the pancreas are the delta cells. This is one we don't really talk too much about. We mentioned it earlier, somatostatin. This is going to influence the stomach secretions, or the G cells. But other than that, the two other ones that we actually talked about earlier are the alpha cells and beta cells, which are going to release glucagon, which is going to increase our blood concentrations of sugar, and insulin from beta cells, which will decrease the concentrations of blood sugar. So at this time, if you have any questions about the pancreas anatomy, let me know. The next section is going to talk about the hormones associated with the pancreas.